Shooting at a luxury resort had been on my bucket list for a long time. And here I was, on my way to a tiny little island in the Maldives for a production at one of the top resorts in the world. With me were my wife Courtney and our producer Jess. By the time we were sitting on that plane, a lot of the work had already been done. Weeks of planning, decision-making, and packing. Now, we had 10 full days of shooting ahead of us. 10 days of producing with long hours, intense heat, and a lot of moving parts. It's demanding work for sure, and this is what it looks like behind the scenes.
Before we get into all this beautiful Maldives content, I just want to introduce myself quickly. My name is Jacob Lund, and I'm a photographer. And together with my wife, Courtney, I run a small production company where we shoot mostly lifestyle content for stock agencies, but also for clients. This was going to be our third production with this resort client in the Maldives. And from the moment we got the confirmation, we had just under 2 months to pull everything together. Crew, gear, tickets, permits. But the hardest part by far on this one was the cast. The client, they wanted a multi-generational family as cast for the shoot, meaning grandparents, parents, and kids. And that's a very tricky combination to cast for. We put out a casting call via social media. Luckily, it didn't take long before people started responding. And there was actually lots of responses. But not the family we were looking for. Days were passing quickly and we realized that we were not magically going to find this family. So we changed the plan. Instead of finding this family, we'd had to make one. We looked back at all the casting applications that we had received, and somehow in there we found that the pieces were actually there. There was people there who looked like they could actually fit as a family. Now, the only catch was that we were in South Africa at the time, and these people that we wanted to cast, they were in different countries. So we could not test them out together to see how they'd interact and how the chemistry was as a family. The only thing we could do was cross our fingers and hope for the best and just try it out in the Maldives.
When we arrived, we got into our beautiful villa, our base for the next 10 days. We got our transportation sorted. We met up with Julia from Brazil, our assistant on this production.
Nice to see you here.
And then we went straight into scouting the island. Although we had shot here before, we still wanted to walk the island again, just to refresh our memory, get a sense of the light, and mentally prepare for the shoots. We had a very detailed shoot plan going in. But as it often goes, you've got a plan until day one proves otherwise. And here was another challenge for us. Turns out, many of the shoots we had planned had to be changed due to hotel operations. A hotel is a living ecosystem where guest plans shift day by day, and some locations were no longer available. So we sat down to rework our schedule. We made some compromises, shifted things around. Some shoots got moved and others got changed entirely. That's production life. It always throws something at you. In the afternoon, we met up with all the cast. This was our first chance to meet and connect with everyone, and for us to get an in-person look at this family we had put together. We talked through plans, and in the evening we ran a full fitting session. Every model tried on every outfit that we had for them, and we photographed each one. This way we could just send out a picture to each model before every shoot with what outfit to wear. This makes things a lot smoother when there's not a dedicated stylist on the crew. And then, after a long, busy first day, we felt ready, at least as ready as you ever get. It was time to start shooting. Between shoots, there's a tight window to dump files, take backups, and recharge batteries. Pretty important to keep this process disciplined and tight. And any remaining downtime we'd usually spend reviewing content or take a nap. One of the scenes the client had requested was a parasailing scene. Parasailing is strapping into a parachute and then getting pulled by a speedboat. This obviously happens on the ocean, and how do you shoot that in an interesting way? We decided to shoot 4 angles for this one. First, stills and video from the main parasailing boat. Second, stills and video from a support boat, like for a wider exterior. And third, a point of view shot from the people up in the parachute. Finally, we wanted drone shots tracking both the boat and the parachute. A scene like this has a lot of moving parts and plenty can go wrong. The only way to pull it off is by coming well prepared and making sure everyone knows the plan, making sure everyone knows how to communicate, especially when we're on the ocean.
Team, radio check.
Check, loud and clear.
We headed out and started shooting. Quickly got our first angle. This angle was mostly interesting to capture the interactions of the people on the boat as the parachute went up. The second angle from the support boat gave decent coverage, but nothing too exciting. After this, we stopped the boats to prep for our next shot, which was the point of view shots from the parachute. We got the point of view with the GoPros, and this one was quite fun and different. And finally, the drone shot, which was my favorite. We got some beautiful tracking shots, and the timing with the sunset couldn't have been better. It was a wrap, but then we needed to land the drone. And if there's something I hate, it's landing drones on the ocean. It's like, sure, it can be done. I've done it plenty of times, even on this production here. But it's always tricky and it's always risky. If I do it, I want to do it on a calm ocean and on a fairly big boat. This was not the case here. The battery was still good, so I asked the captain if we could do a speedy return back to the island. This way I could land my drone on a hard surface. He didn't hesitate, and a speedy return it was. Drone in sport mode and full throttle. And if you ever wondered what's faster, a speedboat or a Mavic 3, Turns out it's actually a 𝗖𝗢𝗡𝗘𝗖𝗧. We got back, and surprisingly, with 37% battery. These Mavic drones are absolute beasts.
That's when you clap. Yeah. Pilot lands.
Before we knew it, the seaplane arrived to take us home. And if there's something we've learned from doing a few of these resort shoots, it's that the goodbyes always feel a little heavier than you expect. Maybe it's the location, a brief moment in paradise. But more than that, it's the people that make it special. Early mornings, shared meals, long shoot days, the laughs in between. Slowly, this small team of strangers becomes something else, a crew that just clicks. You don't really notice it happening while you're working, but then when you see the models dancing barefoot on the beach at sunset, or the silence on the boat ride back, because everyone is just full. These shoots are intense. 10 days of problem solving, sweating, shooting, adapting. But somewhere in there, between the drone batteries and the fitting sessions and the 4 a.m. wake-ups, something else sneaks in. A moment that reminds you why you fell in love with this work in the first place. These are the little pockets of adventure we get to be a part of. Unlikely people, unreal places. And when it all clicks, it becomes much more than just a job. It becomes something you'll want to remember. And the family we pieced together, they looked like they'd known each other forever. Watching them laugh, play, take selfies, you'd never guess they just met. None of this would have been possible without the amazing team at JOALI. Their support, their patience, their attention to just every detail. It's this kind of professionalism that makes a shoot like this not just doable, but really a joy. The Jadogas, as they call them, their word for magicians, they really do live up to the name. Always one step ahead, always with a smile. It's that spirit that makes JOALI feel so special. And honestly, it's a big part of why we want to keep coming back. So yeah, we came back with a hard drive full of 9 terabytes of files. But we also came back with stories, new friendships, and a bit more gratitude. And that makes all the early flights, the late nights, and the gear hauling totally worth it. Thanks for watching.